It all began on a cold, foggy night in the quiet town of Eldermore. The streets were empty, shrouded in an eerie silence that made the air heavy with dread. People in Eldermore knew better than to wander out after dark. Whispers of strange disappearances had long circulated, turning the once lively community into a ghost town after sunset. Amelia Hart, a young journalist with an insatiable curiosity, moved into town seeking a fresh start. Eldermore's mysteries intrigued her, and she saw an opportunity to uncover a story that could propel her career. Her new home was an old, creaky Victorian house at the edge of town, rumored to be haunted. Amelia dismissed the tales, chalking them up to local superstition. One evening, while sifting through old town records in her dimly lit study, Amelia noticed something peculiar. A pattern of disappearances spanning decades, all connected by a single chilling detail. Each victim reported seeing a figure lurking in the shadows before vanishing. The townsfolk had dubbed him the Silent Watcher. Determined to unravel the truth, Amelia began her investigation. She interviewed locals, scoured archives, and even ventured into the abandoned parts of town where the disappearances were most frequent. The more she uncovered, the more she felt an unsettling presence watching her every move. Her nights grew restless. Strange noises echoed through her house. The creak of floorboards, the faint sound of whispering, the sensation of being watched. She tried to dismiss her fears as paranoia, but the unease gnawed at her. The Silent Watcher was not just a legend, he was real, and he was closer than she realized. One night, as Amelia reviewed her notes, her phone buzzed. A text message from an unknown number appeared. "Stop digging, or you'll be next." Her heart pounded as she scanned the room, the darkness seeming to close in around her. She locked all the doors and windows, but deep down, she knew it wouldn't stop him. Days turned into weeks, and Amelia's investigation grew more dangerous. She discovered that the Silent Watcher was not just a stalker, but a ruthless serial killer who meticulously chose his victims. Each disappearance was carefully orchestrated, each crime scene meticulously cleaned, leaving no trace behind. He thrived on fear, feeding off the terror he instilled in his prey. Amelia's life became a living nightmare. She received more threatening messages, each one more sinister than the last. She reported them to the police, but they were as baffled as she was. Eldermore had a long history of unsolved cases, and the Silent Watcher had always been one step ahead. One evening, while reviewing her findings, Amelia's computer screen flickered. A live video feed popped up, showing her living room from an unknown angle. Panic surged through her veins as she realized the camera was inside her house. The Silent Watcher was already there, lurking in the shadows. Her phone rang. A distorted voice whispered,
"I'm closer than you think."
The call ended abruptly, leaving her in a state of sheer terror. She grabbed a flashlight and crept through her house, every creak of the floorboards amplifying her fear. She checked every room, but found nothing. Exhausted and terrified, Amelia decided to leave Eldermore. She packed her bags, planning to escape under the cover of night. As she reached the front door, a chilling realization hit her. She had forgotten her research in the study. Reluctantly, she turned back to retrieve it. The house seemed to hold its breath as she entered the study. She grabbed her notes and turned to leave, but froze in her tracks. A figure stood in the doorway, blocking her exit. The Silent Watcher, clad in dark clothes, his face obscured by a hood, stepped forward.
"You should have left when you had the chance,"
he hissed. Amelia's mind raced. She had to escape, but the windows were too high and the only exit was blocked. In a desperate move, she hurled a lamp at him and bolted for the door. The Silent Watcher recovered quickly, pursuing her with predatory speed. She dashed through the house, her breath coming in ragged gasps. She could hear his footsteps behind her, closing in. She burst out the back door, sprinting into the dense woods behind her house. The trees loomed like silent sentinels, their branches clawing at her as she ran. Amelia stumbled and fell, her body trembling with exhaustion and fear. She looked back, expecting to see him right behind her, but there was nothing. Silence enveloped the forest, broken only by the sound of her ragged breathing. She struggled to her feet, determined to keep moving. As she made her way through the woods, she stumbled upon an old, abandoned cabin. She knew it wasn't safe, but she needed to rest and gather her thoughts. She pushed the door open and stepped inside, the musty air filling her lungs. The cabin was dark, but it offered a temporary refuge. She slumped against the wall, her mind racing. How had he found her? What did he want? Her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of footsteps outside. Panic surged through her veins. She frantically searched for a hiding place, finally settling on a small closet in the corner of the cabin. The door creaked open, and she held her breath. She could hear him moving through the cabin, methodically searching each room. His footsteps grew louder, closer. He stopped just outside the closet door. Amelia's heart pounded in her chest, each beat echoing in the silence. The door swung open, and she found herself face to face with the silent watcher. His eyes, cold and devoid of humanity, bore into hers. She knew there was no escape. But just as he reached for her, a deafening noise shattered the silence. The cabin door burst open, and a group of police officers stormed in, their guns drawn. The silent watcher turned to flee, but it was too late. They tackled him to the ground, handcuffing him as he struggled and screamed. Amelia stumbled out of the closet, her body shaking with relief. The nightmare was over. The silent watcher had been caught. As the officers led him away, he turned and met her gaze one last time.
This isn't over. I'll be back.
He snarled. The words sent a chill down her spine. Even behind bars, his presence loomed over her like a dark shadow. But for now, she was safe. She had survived. And she knew that she would never stop looking over her shoulder, always haunted by the memory of the silent watcher. In the weeks that followed, Amelia's story made headlines. The town of Eldermore slowly began to return to normal, but the scars of fear and loss lingered. Amelia moved away, hoping to leave the horrors of her past behind, but the experience had changed her forever. She knew that somewhere in the darkness of his prison cell, the silent watcher was plotting his return. And she vowed that if he ever came back, she would be ready. Because in Eldermore, the shadows always hide secrets, and some nightmares never truly end. Thank you for joining me on this terrifying journey through the story of the Silent Watcher. If you enjoyed this tale and want to hear more spine-chilling stories, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support helps me keep bringing you the scariest content on YouTube. And remember, if you ever feel like you're being watched, you might just be right. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.